we'll do a quick overview on what the Sega Pico console has to offer, followed by a hardware breakdown and comparison to the Sega Genesis. And I'll finish the video off with some Pico gameplay. Also, a little insight into the existence of the Sega Pico 2.0, otherwise known as the Advanced Pico Beena. Let's get right into it. By the early 1990s, electronic toys were on the rise, and Sega, a company at its peak, decided to create a home console geared towards a younger audience. The result was the Sega Pico, essentially a children's PC with some cool electromagnetic qualities, allowing the player to turn the page of a storybook and see that page come to life on screen with various activities and interactions to complete. Followed by an all-out paint whatever you want section, presumably on the last page of every game. In this case, the only game I own for the Pico is the one I found with the console, Richard Scarry's Busy Town. And I'd say after playing through the story, it would have actually been a fair children's learning device of the time. Also, the paint section worked surprisingly well, with the clicky pen working better than expected. The sensor technology used in the pad and screen came from that developed for 1987 arcade game World Derby, while its CPU and graphics chip came from the Genesis. Technical specs include a 16-bit Motorola 68000 CPU, 64 kilobytes of main RAM, 64 kilobytes of video RAM, Storyware ROM cartridges of various sizes. The video card was a YM7101 ASIC, which was replaced with an FQ8007 ASIC in newer units. The sound chip was a Texas Instruments SN76489 programmable sound generator.
The bakery smells so good.
May I have a cookie, please? Yum, yum! Thank you!
And an NEC PD7759 PCM chip. The Magic Pen with an action button at its tip, a 4-button directional pad, and one onboard action button. At the time, there were virtually no rival products on the market, certainly none which had been shipped internationally, and it would take a great many years until Sega would face some serious competition from devices such as VTech or Leapfrog. In 2005 in Japan, Sega revealed the Advanced Pico Beena. It's the successor to the Pico and marketed around the learn while playing concept. According to Sega Toys, the focus of the Advanced Pico Beena is on learning in a new social environment, and is listed as their upper-end product. Compared to the Pico, Beena adds several functions, It can be played without a television and supports multiplayer by a separately sold additional Magic Pen. The console also supports data saving. Playtime can be limited by settings in the system. Some games for the Beena also offer adaptive difficulty, which becomes more difficult to play based on the skill level of the player. The Beena Lite, a more affordable version of the console, was released on July 17, 2008. At the time of its release, Sega estimated that 350,000 Beena consoles had been sold, and 800,000 game cartridges. The Advanced Pico Beena is technically the last Sega console. Definitely not no Dreamcast though. Or Saturn. Or Mega Drive for that matter. But enough about the Beena, just thought I should include it as I've never heard of the console prior to doing this video. But for a price point of $139 US on launch in '94, I'd actually say that the Sega Pico would have been a decent console for your kids if they were the appropriate age range. Nowadays, the console with a couple games goes for about half of that price if you find the right seller. So if this is something you're interested in, the price range still isn't the worst today. But that's it for now. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and